Recording. Let's get it all situated, get it all going, and we'll figure out. This is going to be the third attempt at our Boundaries on Brotherhood with the Carrie and Gordon show, right? We're doing this on live on TikTok.
Carrie and Gordon.
We're doing this live on YouTube, and we're going to figure out a way. This is going to be the third attempt at our Boundaries on Brotherhood, right? And today's topic, guys, today's topic is going to be debunking relationship myths and healing, right? The healing process. Miss Carrie did something with her partner not too long ago, and it was doing a workshop, and it kind of like went pretty well. So I wanted to go about how she's doing it, do the preamble for everything like we normally do, Carrie it, and we'll get us all going on all our streaming platforms and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't know who I am, my name's Carrie Polero. I'm a relationship and mindset coach. I help high achieving women stop chasing love and learn that they are the prize.
Right. Carrie's one of my good friends from a long time ago. And, a lot of the times you want to get people that been through this, learned how to do it. And this way we can talk about the exact same subject because we both have came out from the gutter. If you're in the gutter, if you're going through the gutter, if you think you're going into the gutter and you think healing, you have to be healed before you get into a solid relationship, we're here to tell you, you don't have to be. You don't have to heal all the way. You don't have to take a lot of the things. Carrie, what do you think about that statement?
The first thing that we talked about was this idea of, oh my God, I have to be like completely healed before I can get into a relationship. And I think that I had developed that idea when I was younger because of getting into personal development about 10 years ago. I was told, hey, you have a lot of healing to do. And rightfully so, because you knew me, I was pretty fucking angry. It was suggested to me that, hey, Carrie, you get to do some healing work before you get into a relationship. What developed after that was this idea of I must be completely healed in order for me to be in a relationship. No one ever told me that. However, that was the idea that came up for me. This was like the belief that I had created after that, that I must be in this perfect state of mind, state of being, like enlightened in order for me to be in a relationship. And that's absolutely not true because what I have learned is that the majority of my healing is done in relationship.
Absolutely. If you're not ready, if you think you're gonna be always be healing for a relationship, if you're coming out of some sort of crappy situation that you've been in your life and you figure that you cannot do something for your life right now, I would say jump in, because even for me when I got with my relationship with Andrea, if I didn't jump in and thinking I was perfect, I would never have the life I have now. A lot of the times, it all comes down to self doubt and being scared, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's the unknown. Most of the time, you want to figure out something that's going to go in the right direction, but what are some of the myths that you debunked, that you found out that nothing has to be perfect?
What I see a lot is this misconception that when I get into a relationship, I won't be triggered. If the person triggers me, then they're not for me. That's absolutely not true. Like, that is my invitation to heal. If I'm triggered, I get to look, okay, why am I triggered? And let me lean in to that particular area. That's just an area of growth that I get to experience. It doesn't tell me anything about that particular individual that I'm with, except, oh my God, thank you for shining a light on somewhere.
You just had a situation with one of your workshops that you just had.
Yeah.
What was the premise between you and Abel doing this? So that shed some light on this, because I'm kind of interested in that, because that's kind of cool actually.
So the reason that I wanted to do the Q&A is because I've had so many of my clients and followers ask me a lot of questions about my relationship. And I think that people have this idea, they think that my relationship is perfect, right? Like, how do you have this perfect relationship? I'm like, that doesn't exist. No, absolutely. It does not exist. And we have worked through a lot of different situations and issues over the last couple of years. I thought that it would be great to bring him on
Mhm.
and do like, a little 20-minute Q&A, right? Which ended up being 2 hours, uh, which was
It
fantastic because
happens.
yeah, and it was great because he got to share his perspective on so
Nice.
many different topics. I'm grateful for his time because he wanted to make sure that he answered all the questions and gave his perspective. So I got to go through all of the questions that were asked, and he shared about how we met and like his version of how we met and
Okay.
all the things, which is, everybody has their own version, which is great.
But but does it help you to know that he was open enough to share all of that with you during this workshop when he's on the spot? Because he, guys, if you watch Carrie and stuff, if you watch me on any of this, he's an attorney. So he's used to talking. His time is very valuable. To be able to take the time out to go into Carrie's workshop to explain from his side, how eye opening was that for you?
Yes, that for me landed in a way of you matter, right? Like this is
Yes,
important. You matter. I'm sharing my time with you.
absolutely.
And and it was great to listen to his perspective on events that had happened because there are moments I think in every relationship, especially when you're not feeling good about yourself and you might feel like the other person doesn't appreciate you. And then
Mm-hmm.
you hear their perspective of situations and you're like, oh wow, like they do care, they do appreciate me. And we don't share that enough. I feel like in
Okay.
relationship, we don't share with our partner how much we appreciate them. I don't think that ever gets dull.
True. I mean, me and Andrea, we have this app called Get Paired, but it asks us questions daily about our relationship.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, it asks stupid questions. When was the last time you did something nice? How do you feel about this thing? How you feel about that? When was the last time you did something nice? And it keeps us kind of like engaged in our stuff where it gives you point system. Some of the questions are just retarded and but a lot of the time it's just a talking conversation. Sometimes, like you said, Carrie, it feels like you're not feeling wanted. You might, that myth of you have to heal in the situation from your past to get over through this relationship because of what you might be going through in your relationship right now. Because if somebody tells me their relationship perfect, I'm gonna tell them you're full of shit. It's to your face because even though you have relationships from going in prison, overseas, long distance relationships, doing things that might not even be normal, you gotta have some sort of communication and you gotta
Yeah.
be open and you have to have things going on in your life that you can talk to about because to get to that point in your relationship where you can communicate and not hold anything personal, right? That's a big thing for
Yeah.
you, right? Is kind of huge. You want to talk about that for a minute because I know that's big because you used to guard everything from the chest from your background also.
And people are not their behavior. I think that was the biggest thing that I got to learn was people
That's
are
a
not their
judgment.
behavior. Correct. Just because someone shows up a particular way doesn't mean anything about me. It's more about them. And understanding that allowed me to not take things personal. And that
Yeah.
was really huge for me because I always, and we've talked about this, I used to make everything about me. Everything was about me. And then I realized that the world doesn't revolve around me. Everything is not about me. And when I could take a step back from that and realize that nothing is personal, it really is just a reflection of what the other person is going through or what they're healing through or working through.
Correct.
Yeah, it has absolutely nothing to do with me. And if it triggers me, then that's a place that I get to look at.
Right, right. But you look at you used to be you was caught up in that myth of the strong independent no man type of woman at
Yeah.
that was your belief, and now that you've come into a solid relationship where you're just freaking happy is the best thing that you could be because the happiness comes with the gratitude comes from past trauma, something that you're going to be healing. How does it work that the person you was before with this, they call it the independent woman that's kind of crashing out right now.
Hmm.
I want you to talk to about us about some of our guests that's watching. It's kind of crazy because I want you to talk about that and how it kind of like the before and the after, if you don't mind, because that's kind of interesting to me too. Knowing, see, the hard part, guys, I know Carrie had anger issues. I have anger issues. Now she has very happy issues. And I want to see where is the pivot point that changed from a old belief to a new belief.
I think one of the biggest things that shifted for me was not comparing my partner with my parents' relationship.
Oh,
And I
that's
know
big.
that it like
Okay, okay,
I always took that relationship with my parents and I created a story that I had to be everything, right? Because I didn't want to create that relationship. They got divorced. That didn't work. I got to see a lot of
okay,
stuff that I didn't like, right? So I don't want
right.
to create that again. In fact, I want to get as far fucking away from that as possible.
Hmm.
So let me, you know what? I can just do it all by myself. I don't need another person. And it's absolutely true that you don't need another person. However, it's nice to be in partnership with someone that can complement your life.
Interesting.
I don't think I had the capacity to catch this a lot in past relationships
Oh, okay.
because I was still in the belief that I was less than in my relationships.
Okay. So you pretty much judge yourself, but you took accountability for all of this stuff,
Mhm.
right? Tell me if I'm correct or I'm not correct at this. Is it hard for women to take accountability when they haven't had the healing process or put in the work for themselves? How hard was it for you?
Yeah, it's hard. If I'm responsible for my entire life, I'm responsible for everything that I've created and the circumstances that are currently happening around me are from the way that I'm showing up. And if that's true, then how can I show up differently to create new circumstances and create something different in my life?
How does it, how did that change your path? Because if you was a different person in the beginning and you notice this person that you are now,
Mhm.
how has it helped you with your relationship and you busted that myth yourself?
Well, because I would always challenge my partner. I would always challenge him and fight him and not realize that's what I was doing. I would question
Oh,
everything because of what I had learned in because for me, I'm going to create the relationship that my parents had. I'm going to recreate that in all of my relationships until I heal that. Because to me, I grew up watching that. That is my normal. That is how I compare all relationships. And so I would fight against that because I didn't want to create that. So I would cause some kind of conflict in the relationship. I would challenge my partner. I would fight my partner. And so by doing that, I was literally creating the dysfunction that I was trying to get away from. Correct.
for what
Correct.
though?
Because the fear of being in the same type of relationship that my parents had, I was so convicted that I am not going to experience that. But by the way that I was showing up, I actually was creating that.
Ah, that makes sense. That makes a whole lot of sense. When you stop doing the comparing, right? Or you
Mhm.
stop being judged, or you stop being hard on yourself, or you start doing certain things, does it happen more often than not? Or is it just you just grow out of it?
It comes with practice. Was learning to forgive myself, learning to forgive other people, learning to forgive my parents, and just
Ah,
like releasing all of that.
yeah.
And then remembering that my partner is not my dad. My partner is not any of my past partners. My partner is unlike anyone else I've been in
Okay.
relationship
Okay.
with. And so if I can shift that belief to I am experiencing a brand new experience that I've never experienced before, how can that be different than all of the past?
So how does it shift for you and the emotion? Say able now, right?
Mhm.
Or say people that are going to watch this on the replay, they're watching this live on TikTok, they're watching this live on YouTube, even at Facebook. When you're in that mode, that comparing mode, that situation mode, when you're doing
Yeah.
something like where you want to pivot to a place, what should people actually do at that moment?
Stop comparing. I mean, and I know that people say this all the time, comparison is the thief of joy, and it's so
Oh,
true because there
that's
is not another human being on the planet that is me or that is like me. Everyone is unique in their own way. And if that really is true, that means my path is going to be different than yours, and there is no comparison.
so if I'm hearing that correct, The minute you start to compare yourself, think of it this way. If you was running a workshop with me and my
Mhm.
wife right now, right? What would be some of the things you would be doing as a coach? This is going to be good. You're going to put
Oh,
me on the
yeah.
spot.
I would be asking, what are the things that you appreciate about the other person? Because that's the biggest shift, is instead of focusing on the things that are going wrong, what can I
Right, right,
appreciate?
right.
What are the things that are going right?
So, what would be,
Like,
well,
I'll
I'm
use
just,
this as an example. When I first started getting into personal development, they would always ask me, what do you want? What do you want to create in your life? I
ah,
couldn't tell you what I wanted, but I could tell you what I didn't
that's
want.
good.
This is what I
That's
don't
good.
want. And
That's
people
good.
would say to me, well, that's great that you don't want that, but what do you want? And I was like, I don't know, but I know I don't want this big group of shit, right? Like, I don't
Right.
want this, but I don't know what I want. And it was because I had not conditioned myself to see what was possible or to even see that I have desires. There are things that I do want to create. And when I started to focus on that rather than focusing on the things that I didn't want or the lack or the scarcity, it's that little shift right there. I can focus on the lack or the scarcity, or I can focus on what's possible and the abundance of it all. So.
How does it help you or the viewers knowing that once you compare, like even for me, once I start comparing myself and the different values that I have in my life right now, it kind of changes the whole perspective because stop comparing yourself. Who we used to be before is not the person we are today. Is it because
Right.
we did time? Is it that we went through bad relationships? Is we did so much bad shit that we're trying to redeem ourselves? You mean is redemption in this thing? A lot of the times is, and I tell this to people that never been through stuff also. Like if they haven't had like a life changing traumatic experience, if your perspective changes, your mood changes, your belief changes, and your behavior will change in a way that will, like you said, Carrie, open up to receive, right? Because if you're not receiving, you're repelling. If
Yeah.
you're repelling, you're just closed off to anybody that's trying to give you, say, even from the man up above. He might be giving you all this grace and you're just fucking it up, basically. Now, the what would be some of the myths that you've had in your old life that you learn now? What would be your top?
Oh my goodness. So one of them, I remember this whole playing hard to get and don't let
Wait,
them
wait,
know
wait,
that
wait,
you
wait, wait, wait.
that you
Stop right
like
there.
them.
Stop right there. Stop right there.
And what I mean by playing hard to get is like when you meet someone and then you're like, "Oh, I can see going out with this person again." Now I turn into like a 4-year-old. Like I don't know how to communicate. Now I get a text message and I'm like, oh my God, well, what do I say? I don't want him to know that I like him. Why not? Why not? Like there's
Oh,
so
the
many
game.
myths of, I don't want him to know this. And the fear is if he knows this, he has one up on me. So there is this constant state of, it's like a point system. You can't have
Okay.
more points than me. You
Okay.
can't have the
Okay.
upper hand. Like I've
Okay.
got to protect myself. So that's me still living in this protection mode.
But just give for some of the new viewers, me and Carrie used to be in the life. When I say the life, we was in the club, the drugs, the alcohol, all that good stuff for years and years. This is why me and her uh, clicked on everything else because we came out of it. We were some of the lucky ones that realized and put in the work and did a lot of things for ourselves to be in a life that we have and we are proud of it, basically, right?
Mhm.
Now, if you have a point system with these people, like you see the modern dating women, I watch all these shows about the modern dating women and all this stuff, and I can't wait to get Carrie on the show because it's so funny because she used to be one of these people, right? But now, what would be some of the myths that you would tell these young women? Because you have clients that are young women that
Mhm.
are in your same situation before. How do you tell what would be the first steps, even for men?
Being clear on what you want and not being afraid to express that. The only way you're going to get what you want out of life, period, and that's in every area, is if you're clear on what you want and you can express that and say no to everything that's not that. So if I'm dating a man and he's just not communicative, he doesn't make time, he doesn't plan dates. In fact, he kind of waits for me to do things. Is that what I want? And if that is, then good for you, go for it. But if it's not, then I get to say no to that. And
Mm.
I get to stick to my no, right? Like they're not for me, they're not aligned for me, and that's okay. And that's every area in your life, right?
So what about you? What do you think about the women now
Okay.
that's doing, I see some of these women are dating men just to get a free meal and all this bullshit kind of stuff that's out there. But have you ever done that? Just to go out, just to hang out with a guy, not knowing not knowing that anything else was going to go forward. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yes, I have done that in the past. Yeah, this and I'm talking about before I found personal development. Like I didn't see anything wrong with that
Right,
back
right,
then. It
right.
was all about what can I get for me because no one else is going to look out for me but me. So how can I get as much as I possibly can? Again, that's still coming from the fear of scarcity and lack and all of those things.
Versus now, though, now you give more of yourself because you want to, right?
Yeah.
So, you knowing that, what do you tell your clients and say some of their partners? If you're listening to this on just listening to commentary, she's a personal coach that women become the prize in a way that they embody it, not become the prize physically and trying to take everything from men kind of prize. It's become the prize that you're welcomed to be happy with yourself, right? Now, when you see these women doing these modern day bullshit things, what's some of the things that go through your head? Because you were once that person.
The first thing that pops through my head is that they really don't like themselves.
Oh,
And they're trying to
yes.
create something external to
Yes.
change the way they feel. And they may not even realize it. I know that was very true for me. I would
Yeah.
always try to change something external. And so that did mean that if I felt like you could bring me something, just like you said, go on a date or with somebody that maybe you know that you don't like, but they're going to take you somewhere really nice. Like that
Okay.
experience for me would be like, oh, that's going to change the way I feel. I'm going to feel important. I'm going to feel good.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm going to go out with this guy, right? Like I'm going to
Right,
do
right,
those things.
right.
And again, this is back when I just didn't even know any better. Rather
Of
than
course. Yes,
going,
yes.
hey, like today I can look at that and go, you know what, this person isn't aligned with where I'm going, and they're a no for me. And I don't feel bad about it. But and then there was a lot of guilt. If somebody asks you, are you supposed to say yes? I mean, maybe you shouldn't. There was a lot of people pleasing there too. And a lot
Right.
of that came from working in the environment that we have worked in
Yeah.
because you were like always a yes, always a yes. It was very transactional. It was all about making money. And so when that begins, that is, it was very difficult for me to separate work from my life. Became like meshed together.
It definitely meshes together.
It
Definitely.
definitely
Because
does.
you go to work, you in the clubs, you doing your thing, you're going outside. It's all one big blur,
It is.
basically.
It is.
Yeah. It's all one big blur. Even for me with my lifestyle, it's one big blur because you cannot distinguish reality to a real relationship.
Correct.
You cannot distinguish what you might be going through as a normal person because you're seeking outside validation. And next thing you know, you just get caught up in a whirlwind of just shit.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, it's years past.
It's
I
like you
mean,
snap your
years
finger.
is
Yeah.
going to bypass because a lot of the times, a lot of times you don't notice that the shit that you in, whether you in the life, you in the drugs, you in doing things that you're doing criminal acts, you doing, and that was a normal thing for me. I mean, they want to talk about gangster shit. Gangster shit was just part of the life,
Hmm.
right? And the girls that come along with it is just they want that bad boy, right?
Yeah.
But see, when you have a healthy relationship, right?
Hmm.
When you have a really healthy relationship with real people, how does your past help you benefit? Like when you see these young girls, these young men, they're all trying to show out, they're trying to get a validation. How
Yeah.
does your past help you refrain from some of the shit that you see or you might catch yourself with? Because it's not transactional.
And it's also about giving myself everything that I need. And when I'm in a space that I know that I can provide for myself all the things that I need emotionally, I love myself. I'm showing up for myself. I'm doing my own work. I'm not necessarily looking for this outside validation. I can receive the gifts that are available that are being given to me from a different energy.
Because toxic relationships will actually suck the life out of you, literally, for
Yeah.
nothing, because now you start second guessing yourself. And that's what this channel with Boundaries and Brotherhood, I bring Carrie on TikTok. You see me post all these other stuff, and now you see the real me, because sometimes I've been through this shit, right? And this is why I can talk about it. In fact, one of the comments on YouTube said, like, why what if I always keep messing up? I said, shit. If you do 14 years in federal prison and you've been doing state cases, you got 115 arrests and you have 1,000 angers of anger management. You don't think I was a screw up? That's screw up in a whole different level. But now I teach kids. Now I teach things not to do. Now I help at risk youth. Now I help other men. That's why Boundaries and Brotherhood with me, Doc, and Carrie join the conversation, because sometimes you just need a brother to freaking lay out your shit to. And even for like Carrie, if because it's so funny, because Carrie, she went from having all this different type of relationships to being a solid, meaningful relationship with a guy. This is a good question, Carrie. Carrie,
Okay, I'm ready.
okay. Would you ever expect to have gotten a guy like Abel authentically?
No. And in fact, no way, no way. And in fact, we were very,
No
very
way.
different. He, like the environment in which he grew up in is so
So
completely
different.
opposite of mine. And coming from working in that club environment for so many
Right.
years, that yeah, we're so unbelievably opposite. Sometimes I share stories with him and he looks at me like I'm crazy.
Go,
But
give me a story. Give us a story.
and I'm thinking of the best way to put this without incriminating
Anyone?
anyone.
She said,
Yeah, there's just a lot of wild things that happen that people wouldn't imagine. And so it's just
who are you talking to?
I'm talking to someone who grew up and went to Catholic school, who was actually in the seminary and was going to be a priest at one point. Right. And
Okay.
so the way he grew up was so completely different than mine. And so when I share certain things, it takes
Jaw
a hot
dropping and
minute.
shocking.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think that people understand until like you really like you're in it. You know what I mean? It's just a different lifestyle.
Ah,
And you accept things as normal. And so then when you remove yourself, when I removed myself from the lifestyle, it was, oh, this was my normal. I get to create a new normal now, and none of this applies any longer. But it's almost like you're ripping like my arm off because I'm so accustomed in living a certain way. I'm and thinking a certain way and thinking that everything has to be transactional. Every relationship I have, and it doesn't even matter if it's a friendship, if it's at work, or if it's a partnership. For me, I couldn't wrap my head around partnership. What do you mean partnership? Like we both contribute? Like I always thought it had to be one-sided.
one-sided.
You do something for me and then I do something for you. And then that way we're like never one up on each other. We're just kind of equal and we're cool.
Oh, okay, okay. I mean, that makes sense because you never had that type of relationship, even
Yeah.
from your childhood. Everything was okay. What I gonna get? What I'm gonna get from somebody else?
Mhm.
It's not contributing to the better good of the whole relationship itself.
Right.
It's the same like when I got this house, right? When me and Andrea bought the house, I told her she already had a rental house that I got off of her. I said,
Mhm.
okay, for it to work for us in our relationships, we both have to contribute,
Yeah.
right? In the beginning. 50-50 this way, like you said. I'm not gonna say like in case something happens, like, oh, I'm gonna kick you out of the house and my house is out, the house is under my name, all this other crap that when you fight, because a relationship is never perfect, right?
Mhm.
Now, if you contribute to the house, then I say, now you're working together for the greater good, and that's what made it work for us.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, Andrea's grew up LDS, right?
Mhm.
Strict, right? Like priest, seminary, all that stuff. So like when she tries to, I try to relate to her some of the stories when she meets some of my friends. It's like they look at her. I mean, she's met killers, real gangsters, stuff that people are still in the life, and she looks at me like she don't think it's nothing because I'm kind of like protecting her of all this kind of. But when I explain to them what they are, what they did, who they are, she goes, "Oh my god!" Well, she don't say, "Oh my God," but she's like, "What in the world? What are you bringing around these people for?"
Yes, that's the response. It's kind of like, why would you even be around this, right? Like, why would you put yourself there? That doesn't make sense. And I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, it doesn't make sense for you, but it made perfect sense for me back then.
Right. It makes perfect sense to us.
Right.
But let me ask you this. How has it helped in your relationships now? Did it make it better knowing what you know and he understands you more? Vice versa? Or
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I took away from that environment that I learned and one big key components that I learned was a lot of men are unhappy in their relationships. And that doesn't mean
oh,
anything's wrong with their wife, but it means I get to be responsible for how I'm showing up in relationship. I'm not condoning any bad behavior, but
yes.
back then when I was in the environment, I was like, oh man, every man is unhappy in their relationship. So why do I even need to be married? Why do I need to be vulnerable in that way? Why do I want to be in relationship? Because they're just going to be unhappy and do dumb shit anyway. Right. Like
Right.
that was my thinking behind it. It did not occur to me that, oh, there's a level of responsibility that comes with being in relationship where I'm also responsible for the relationship, right? If I know there's some kind of disconnect there, like how can I show up to connect those pieces? If I really want to be in relationship with this person, if I truly love this person, if that is really true, then then I am in control of the way that I perceive the relationship. I'm in control of, I have a lot more power. Like I can be in my
Mm,
power
mm,
in the
mm.
relationship and I can change the direction and the trajectory of it, right? Because I get to create it.
Yes. I mean, you're in control of it all,
Yeah,
regardless of, but you weren't
absolutely.
in control of it all before because you had a different perception,
Oh my God, yeah.
right?
Yeah. I thought men were bad. Men were evil. Men were bad. Yeah, they were.
See, this is what's so cool, guys, because I'm not after anything from Carrie. She's not after anything from me. It's not transactional. It's to help other people do things to get to a better life. And that's why we can be so honest with each other.
Mhm.
Because it's so cool. Instead of being like, oh, what do I have to put out for her to get this? Or Carrie might be thinking, what is she gonna do to get something out of me? It's like, fuck that shit. Let me ask you this now. When you talk to Abel about the myths and what happened at that workshop, right? Because the what debunking relationship myths and healing, one of the big questions that got debunked or that you debunked yourself about the situation.
Oh, that we get along all the time. Like that in itself, people have this idea that when you get in a relationship with someone, like you're supposed to get along all the time and everything's great and everybody agrees. And no, you're going to have disagreements. They don't have to be a knockdown, drag out fight. You can have a
True.
disagreement
Yeah.
and have a
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think for myself, I remember being in a relationship and I had moved in with someone and I think it was like my second day there. We had a disagreement. And I packed up all my stuff and I had it in a bag. And he was like, "Where are you going?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
in my head, we have an argument, I have to leave.
Because that's what you
That's
normally.
normally do. And he
Ah.
was like, "I don't understand why you're preparing for your departure. Like you just got here and we're just having a disagreement." And I'm like,
How did how that is interesting. That was how did you catch yourself?
"Oh, I didn't catch myself. I was like ready, man. I'm ready to go." I'm like, "I have to go." And he wanted to have a conversation. I was like, "No, no, no, we're not going to have a conversation. Like, I'm ready to get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm ready to go."
Go back to
And
Florida.
yeah, oh, no, no, this wasn't Abel. This was
Oh,
a
oh, oh, okay.
relationship
Oh,
before
okay.
him.
Okay.
Yeah, like at that point, I had learned this was the relationship beforehand. And he was like, "Why are you preparing for your departure?" And I realized that was the relationship that I learned that not everything has to be a knockdown, drag out fight where we're both committed to being right. And it still showed up in this relationship just in a different capacity, right? Like I
Of
moved here,
course.
but I didn't unpack everything, right? I still kept like some things packed up for like six
Oh,
months.
this is a question I want to ask you.
Uh-huh.
How does it work with you disagreeing with attorney partner, your
Uh,
man? Oh,
Let me tell you,
he's with
and
a partner, a high level partner attorney. She comes from the background. She does this. How do you win that argument? Or is it
it's
you
not
just
about
Not even about winning.
I'm
How do
telling
you
you,
communicate?
like God put me in this relationship for a reason because and I'm clear. Like I will never win an argument with an attorney.
No,
Like that's not going to happen because he
no.
gets paid to be right and he's going to fucking be right and it doesn't matter. And so it's just kind of like, oh,
Humbling.
humbling.
Oh my
And
God,
then
for
and I'll
you.
catch myself sometimes where I'm like,
Shut
because
up.
I want to drive it home. I want to be right. And then I'm just like, what am I doing?
How you
Like,
can't.
you can't be right.
But
Eh,
oh yeah, yeah. But how you to interrupt you on that cup? How do you catch yourself knowing you always used to be right?
I don't always catch myself. I will after it's gotten so much better than it was before. In the beginning, it was I have to be right. And now it's like, I don't care who's right or wrong. There is really no right or wrong. But
True.
how can we show up for the greater good of the relationship? That's how I think about it. If that means that he needs to be right in that moment, let him be right. And I can come back to this later on.
Wait a minute.
And
You actually you give in now, huh?
I don't like to call it giving in.
Okay, what do you call it there?
It's a perspective shift. No,
I like
no, it's
that's
just
good.
honestly,
That's good.
it's not important. Being right isn't important anymore.
Okay. I mean you've learned that already.
Yeah,
But
being
I
right
like
isn't
that.
important.
I like that perspective shift. Guys, if your wife or your girlfriend needs to have a perspective shift, please reach out to Miss Carrie Paluro for your coaching needs. But that is so right. Because how do you,
So this is the way I look at it.
yes,
If I have to be right, that means someone is wrong, and that means there's a winner and there's a loser, and then someone's going to feel less than, and that
less than, yeah.
is not okay. Now, and the reason that I feel that way is because I had been in past relationships that were like that, where I always felt less than. So how do I change that dynamic to where we're on an equal playing field? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That means that I can relinquish being right. It doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It just means that what is more important to me is the resolution and the greater good of the relationship
Mm,
than
mm,
carrying my torch to the end and
yeah.
fighting.
So what it,
I don't want my partner to feel bad. I don't want them to
of
feel like
course not, because
they're
that you
wrong.
don't want to be put in that situation either where you have to be like that, right? Because the relationship should be number one. You guys are both together as one unit right now. Oh my goodness. We went through
I
40.
know.
We have like had a lot of people kind of like listen in. Some of them just stayed.
Oh, great.
But we're gonna have to, guys. If you enjoyed this, please put that heart, put that like, put the follow. We're trying to do something new, right? And come join us every Tuesday. And Thursday is gonna be with my in-house therapist, Mr. Doc, Carrie. What would be the other two myth busters about relationships and healing? We talked about the first one all through this conversation. Come join the
Mhm.
conversation, guys, right? What would be another top two about relationship myths that you used to be believed, and we can end with that note?
I think that people believe that but their partner's just magically going to show up. Like I'm just going to sit here and they're going to magically show up. Like, no one's going to come knock on your door and
Ah,
say, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, ma'am. I heard you were single." Like you get to put yourself out there. You get to do the work. And also creating that secure sense of self-worth within yourself, the security within you not looking outside of yourself for a partner to provide that. Because a man, a high value man, someone that can truly be in partnership with you will smell that out, the insecurity, and you will repel them. You will actually get someone that you do not desire if you do not do the work on yourself. Because you're going to get a reflection of who you are. Your
true.
partner is a reflection of
Very
who
true.
you're being,
Very true.
period.
Very true.
So any
Is that
man that comes into your life is a reflection of who you're being. And if you
ah,
use that as a learning tool, then that will change your life.
that is really deep. In fact, we should talk about that more often. Magnetically attracting a high value man, and what perception and what realistics, how
Hmm.
realistically, because some people when I watch these stuff, they have realistic expectations. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
It's because I disappeared for a long time, or is it because something shifted and I didn't even notice? What would be the third one that you could leave our viewers about a myth and relationships?
And again, and I want to go back to this one because I think this one's the one that shows up the most is that I have to be fully healed in order to be in a relationship. I
Perfect.
will do the majority of my healing in relationship if I'm open to it.
If those was the top three
Mhm.
myths and relationships and attracting, let's say, good men, right?
Mhm.
From your perspective,
Oh, I think we get to talk about that more. I think creating women creating their own security, creating the relationship with themselves first
okay,
is huge. I mean, for men as well, but just for a topic of conversation for women. And I actually just did a workshop on this called Secure Women Energy.
we're gonna start doing this. We might have to pump it up to instead of once a week with you, we have to do two, 3 times a week and have a full blown radio talk show.
I'm in.
Join the conversation, guys. Guys, we're gonna have to end it right here because we went over our limit. Actually, thank you for watching. If you're on TikTok, leave us a message. Join the conversation. If you want to watch full episodes, go to the YouTube channel. Look at Carrie's playlist. Look for the highlights. Join the audio. Do something to help yourself. Carrie, end the show right here for us while I get this all situated.
We will see you all next week, Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific time.
Beautiful, guys. I'm Gordon Watt from Boundaries and Brotherhood. Aloha.